Gospel community leaders, there's something very important I want to talk about here today. Now, I'm going to take a very passionate stance on this, and I'm going to be try my best to be very persuasive and cast a very strong and passionate vision here. Now, what I want to avoid is you feeling like this is alarmist, like you need to be scared or frightful of this. Now, God is sovereign over our gospel community groups, and so and also at the same time, I don't feel like this is yet a intense problem with our gospel community groups at all. So this isn't something that I'm in panic mode about, but it is something that as I look at many of our gospel community groups, I see signs that this could eventually become a problem for our gospel community groups, and that's the last thing we want. We actually want to go in the complete opposite direction of a direction that I feel like some of us might be going. And so even if you don't, and so honestly assess your group, and even if you don't feel like your group's moving in this direction, that's all right. Just go even harder in the opposite direction. Okay, so here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about this tendency that our groups have, our gospel community groups have, of beginning to look at the event as gospel community groups. So when and you'll pick this up in the lingo of the people as they talk. So they'll start saying things like, I'm a part of gospel community. Gospel community is Wednesday night from 6:15 to 8:30. That's false. That's false. Gospel community is always, ever, forever. The church exists not just on Sunday morning from 10:30 to noon. The church exists because the church is a moving organism of people. So the church is a people, not a place. The church is a people, not an event. And gospel community is a people, not an event. And so my fear is that we begin to view this event as gospel community. And that is wrong. And that's fuck. We cannot accomplish all the things that we want to accomplish. The things that we as leaders are prayerful towards being accomplished through gospel community cannot happen in a weekly gathering that lasts for 2 or 3 hours. It's just impossible. You can't have deep, authentic community. You might have evidences of it. You might have times of it, but you cannot have it completely. You can't bear one another's burdens deeply in 3 hours once a week. You can't lay your lives down, bleed out for others in 3 hours once a week. It just can't happen. Gospel authenticity, deep accountability, prayerfulness for one, all these things that we desire to be happening, all the one another's of Scripture, and the actual living out of being the church, it can't happen in a weekly event. And so that's a problem. And so we need to cast better vision. We need to change the way that we are thinking and understanding and knowing what gospel community is. Okay, because I hear this from different people as I'm talking about gospel community, that some people are starting to get a lot of their expectations for gospel community, and we set those very high. We talk to people and say, you're going to find these things here. You're going to find accountability. You're going to find prayer. You're going to find friendship. You're going to find the one another's of Scripture in gospel community. And because, myself included, we've done a poor job of casting vision about what gospel community is, everybody gets their expectations wrapped up in that 1 to 2 to 3 hour event once a week. And when that stuff's not happening to them there's a tension. Gospel community isn't what it's supposed to be. Well, that's because we're defining it wrong already in our brains. We're defining it as a weekly gathering. So what do we do moving forward? We need to cast vision better. We need to get better at defining what gospel community is, and this starts with you, and this starts with me as leaders and influencers of people within gospel communities. So I just want to give you a couple bullet points real quick. These are super easy ways to get started with, and then I'm going to attach something to this post. It's just a section from the Gospel Community Leaders Manual on rhythms, weekly rhythms of gospel community. Please read that and engage that content when you get a chance. It's only about 3 or 4 pages, and it's going to help you to cast vision to your gospel community group. Let's stop this slide into this way of thinking now, and let's move in the complete opposite direction. And how we're going to move in the complete opposite direction is we're going to look at what our people are already doing outside of the weekly gathering. So if people are already meeting for mommy play dates or helping other people move into their homes or or whatever, doing Little League Baseball together, doing a book study together, whatever these things are that are going on with the people of your group outside of the weekly gathering, encourage those things and celebrate those things. And cast a vision for your group to do that more, for people to take ownership of those things. Encourage people in that. Invite people into your life week to week, day to day, to do these things. And so share the stories and celebrate the wins. It's your first step. Now again, read this resource that's attached to this post. It's going to give you more in depth here, but the number one thing I want to emphasize is celebrate or share stories and celebrate wins. So when your group brings food to a new mother and father every other night for like 3 weeks, celebrate this in your group at your weekly gathering or on the city, and call it what it is. Call it gospel community. Okay? Say it. Say that that's what it is, so that this definition begins to become more robust and accurate in our brains. When somebody helps someone move stuff out of a storage locker and into their home, or helps somebody move from one location to another, celebrate it in your weekly gathering or on the city, and call it what it is. Call it gospel community, because that's what it is. It's happening. When someone in your group starts a book study and invites people into that, some of them being from the group, maybe some of them from outside the group, celebrate that. Share that story and celebrate that win and call it what it is. Gospel community. When you hear that a bunch of people got together and saw a movie, or they went to see Disney on Ice, or they are doing accountability together, whatever it might be, when you hear of these things happening and you see these things happening within your group, celebrate it and call it what it is. Gospel community. And invite people into your life in that same way. Many of you already are. Invite people into your life to eat dinner with you, or to go somewhere with you. And when that happens, call it what it is. Gospel community. We got to change the definition. We got to change the way we think, and we got to change our understanding of what gospel community is. And that starts with me, and that starts with you. We got to do better at this, frankly, or we're going to slip in the wrong direction here. We're going to become too consumed with the event, and we're going to put too much pressure on the event, and we're going to have too high of expectations in the event. And that's not what gospel community is. That event is simply a springboard into true, real, authentic gospel community that covers day after day, that is phone calls at 3 a.m. in the morning, that is going to visit the sick, that is being involved in somebody's life to meet their needs, that is bleeding out for one another, laying down our lives for one another. Those sort of things aren't going to happen in the event. They will at rare occasions, but they are not going to happen at a highly functioning level week in and week out. That's only going to happen in what we call true gospel community. So we got to cast this vision. We got to celebrate it when it's happening, and we got to exhort and encourage our groups to do it, do it, do it. It's so important. Okay? So that's it. Again, not alarmist, just saying I can see some of us sliding in this direction. So it's up to us to cast vision and change that definition and change that way of thinking. I love you guys so much, and I love community. And thank you all so much for standing on the front lines and bleeding out to make this possible, so that lives can be changed and deeply impacted by the gospel through community. I love you all so much.